What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for November 5th, 2022. Big show today. We got a lot to get to, a lot of exciting things happening in Philly sports. We have, obviously, the Philadelphia Union playing for the MLS Cup. We have the Phillies playing Game 6 of the World Series against the Astros. We have a pretty good, I think, this day in Philly sports history fact for you. A couple quick housekeeping things. At some point, either Sunday or Monday, there will be a new episode of Back to the Future. Going to do our college basketball preview as well as a World Series recap, one way or the other. So be on the lookout for that. If you're not a subscriber and I'm not really sure what I'm talking about, go look for Back to the Future with a PH wherever you get your podcasts. We have a lot of just great and exciting things going on over there as well. So the two podcasts are somewhat related as well. So go ahead and give that a follow and a like. Quick update on my Upper Dublin Cardinals, who beat the Academy Park Knights last night for 35-0 for their first round playoff District 1 PIAA win. Kudos to the Cardinals, and I'm not sure who they play next week, but let's keep this rolling. Exciting times. They moved to 11-0, so always good when your high school team or your kids' teams are going to do well. I don't think they really know what's going on yet, but they'll get there. Sixers dropped one to the Knicks last night. They were obviously without Harden, and Embiid set out with a mystery illness. Not sure what that was about. But, I mean, I tuned back and forth between that and some of the college football games that were going on, and it kind of was, I don't know. There's just something off about this team, and I think it's Doc. So now that the World Series is winding down, I'm going to be paying a little bit more attention to the Sixers, so we'll see what happens with that. All right, so the first big event today in Philly sports is the Philadelphia Union are playing the Los Angeles Football Club for the MLS Cup today out in LA. So let's do a quick preview. I'm going to premise this by saying I know absolutely nothing about the Union, probably even less about soccer. So what I'm going to base this pick on is one thing, Tim McDermott. Now, Tim McDermott is the president of the Union, or one, I forget his official title, but basically he's the president of the Union. And he is originally from the Philly suburbs. I think they bounced around like Westchester, I want to say maybe Doylestown, Media or Paoli, somewhere in there. But his brother is Sean McDermott, who you might know him. He used to be one of the assistants under Andy Reid for the Eagles and everything. And he's also the Bills head coach right now, one of the best teams maybe in the league other than the Eagles. But he used to coach for the Eagles, so we'll leave it at that. But he lives next door, Tim McDermott does, to my buddy. And that's basically all I got. So we're going to root for the Union because they're the local team. But if you want some actual stats, here's what we're going to base this pick on. And what I know about soccer is goal differential is a big thing. Obviously, you want to score more goals than your opponent. However, that goal differential means if the higher that goal differential is, the more goals you're scoring and the less you're giving up. So you want that to be pretty big. And so this is where I think the Union are going to have the edge. Yes, they had to fly across country. Yes, they're in LA, and that's where LA Football Club, I don't know, are they LAFC? This is where I need you guys to help me. Let me know. Is it LAFC? Is it the Los Angeles Football Club? Is it both? I mean, I don't know. But this is where the Union has the edge. The LA Football Club, or LAFC, their goal differential on the season was 28. The Union's goal differential was 46. Now, both teams had the same amount of points in the standings between their wins and their draws and things like that. I think that goal differential, that's almost double. I mean, that's pretty significant, to be honest. And so we're going to roll with the Union. It's been a hell of a ride for them this season. I think this is the culmination of they've been to the playoffs now a couple times since they've come into existence, and that recently they've been building up to this, so this is what they've been playing for. So we're gonna roll with the Union. I don't know if you give scores in soccer picks. Like, I don't know how soccer betting works. Do you bet them minus a half a goal? Like hockey, I don't know. Either way, we're taking the Union. I will be putting a bet on this just because it's Saturday and why not. But the Union to bring home the MLS Cup. Dupe, I know that. That's their song, the Dupe, 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 Dupe. So we're going to go with them. It's hashtag New Philly. That's the first big game that Philly's going to win. We're going the Philly doubleheader today. Might as well really quick do the Phillies preview why we're here before we get into this day in Philly sports history. Listen, you have Wheeler on the mound. He's going against Valdez. I still think I've watched enough of the Astros this year. I think Valdez he can unravel. Like, I think when he's on, don't get me wrong, he's unstoppable. But I think if you can get to him early and kind of unravel him, I think they can score some runs on him. And they've been hitting the ball. They just can't get those runners in. And that's going to be the key. Wheeler has the extra day of rest. I mean, this is who you want on the mound. I look for Rob Thompson, though, because it's do or die. He's going to be dipping into that bullpen early. I look for guys like Kyle Gibson. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if we see Aaron Nola come back in for an inning. I mean, that's how big this game is. And I gave you the stat yesterday when a team won Game 5 after the series being tied up at 2 games apiece. The winner of Game 5 has won 31 of 47 of those series. However, that means 34% of those series have been won by the team that lost, just like our Phillies. And we said this happened to the Astros they're playing. Yes, there's there's a handful of guys that weren't there, but the core of this team is the team that lost 2 games at home, games 6 and 7, to the Washington Nationals, who I don't know. I don't know. I'm still stuck on the Nationals thing, but I don't know if they were as good as team offensively as this Phillies team. They definitely had better pitching. So, I mean, this is going to come down to it's all hands on deck pitching. But just this team, you want to have this dynasty talk and like, oh, we've won 2 in how many ever years. Well, you got to throw that in there. If you're going to talk about dynasty, you got to take the good with the bad. And that was bad, losing game 6 and 7 at Houston. So it's I don't want to say it's a done deal because obviously it's an uphill battle for the Phillies, but I've seen crazier things happen in sports. This is New Philly. We got the Union winning it today. Got the Phillies forcing Game 7 tomorrow. It's set up perfect. You don't have to worry about an Eagles game tomorrow either. So you got Game 7, no Eagles. Let's do this. So we're going to go with the Phillies to win today. But again, it's going to be tough, but this is what you want. All right, so got the Union, got the Phillies. All right, let's throw in some Eagles. This day in Philly sports history is going to be, we're going to take it way, way, way back. November 5th, 1933, the Philadelphia Eagles got their first win as a franchise with a 6-0 win over the Cincinnati Reds. Don't ask, just go with it. But that was their inaugural season. They ended up finishing 3-5-1. They didn't make the playoffs. Here's where I'm not sure how many of you know this. I just always have assumed that they're the Eagles, bald eagle. The country was founded in Philadelphia. So let's name it the symbol of our country, blah, 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 blah. However, the name comes from the Blue Eagle. Their original colors were the light blue and yellow that they wore in that game in 2007. So it was the Blue Eagle, which represented that businesses were in compliance with the National Industrial Recovery Act, which was part of FDR's New Deal to get the country out of the Depression. Did not know that until last night. I always just figured and assumed that they were named after the bald eagle. So there, I'm dropping some knowledge to you on a Saturday morning. So, and the reason why Philly was finally able to have an NFL franchise is Pennsylvania lacks the blue laws, which was basically an old school like religious thing like, hey, keep Sundays holy by not working, drinking, playing sports or whatever it is. But so that allowed Philly and Pittsburgh both to have their NFL franchises in play on Sundays. There was you did have the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, but they played most of their games on Saturday, and by 1933 they had not played in a few years anyway. So this day in Philly sports history, 1933, the Philadelphia Eagles received their first win as an NFL franchise, beating those Cincinnati Reds 6-0 to finish the season 3-5-1. They got their name because of the Blue Eagle of the National Industrial Recovery Act. So there you go. All right, so let's go Union. Let's go Phils. Let's keep this momentum rolling. We got the Upper Dublin Cardinals. It's just a great time to be alive. So go have yourselves a Saturday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you. Hopefully getting ready for Game 7.